This season, it got off a little bit rough. The Devils haven't really looked as dominant as they were during periods of last season. Nico being down obviously hurts a lot. But I honestly have to say, as long as Jack Hughes is healthy, the Devils are going to be okay. All right, we're going to get into the whole entire Jack Hughes things later. But once again, hello everyone. My name is Lippy. Welcome back to another episode of the Devils Weekly Roundup. This past week, the Devils played 2 teams over 3 games, and we're going to talk about them. Instead of talking about both games versus the Minnesota Wild, though, I am only going to talk about both of them in one segment because essentially they were the same game. The Devils did very well at controlling pace. The power play was the power play. It continued to dominate. And the Devils were able to close out 2 games against the Minnesota Wild, which were great. I know the Wild had been kind of struggling with injuries, and it was pretty evident, but the things that I did like, Alexander Holtz looked really great again. The power play looked really, really strong, and overall, I thought this was starting to get back to more of the Devils of what we knew of last year. They controlled play. They had very good possession of the puck. They were using their speed, and they were playing good team defense. Obviously, Vitek and Vitek played both of these games. So Vitek let in 3 goals per game, which, it's going to happen. I think a couple were on the power play. It happens. And overall, I thought the Devils played very well versus the Wild. They were 2 very good wins. They earned them 100%, and overall, the Devils just looked better. Now, we're going to talk about the St. Louis game. And obviously the big story that came out of the St. Louis game was Jack Hughes went into the boards kind of awkwardly in the first period and appeared to hit his head. Weren't sure if it was his collarbone, but essentially Jack Hughes got injured. And I will admit, I kind of turned off the game after that point because I kind of knew the way it was going to go. I'm not saying that Jack Hughes is this whole entire team. He's not. The Devils have a lot of amazing pieces. But Jack Hughes is probably the engine of this team. With Nico being out, he was being relied on even more. Because he's Jack Hughes. He does very well. He is probably going to get 100 points this year, depending on how this injury is. But when he went down, and given the Devils' history with the Blues, he kind of knew the game was not going to go the Devils' way. From what Elliot Friedman reported, I believe this was yesterday, I'm recording this on Sunday, the worst case scenario was avoided. Now, we don't know what exactly that means, but it sounds like it wasn't a broken collarbone. I saw some people saying, why did everyone think it is a collarbone? Let's remember, Jack had a shoulder injury a couple years ago that he suffered from. So when you kind of see that area, him grabbing it or them working on that area like they were on the bench, you start assuming. It could be a concussion. This is the NHL. People are vague with the details. So where do the Devils go from here? I think tonight, as of Sunday, they are playing the Chicago Blackhawks. I will talk about that in the next episode. The Devils just need to get back to where they were, and it needs to be the next man up. Losing Jack and Nico for a significant amount of time is going to hurt. Any team that loses their top 6 centers for a good bit of time is going to have problems. But now this affords opportunities for some people. Michael McLeod is going to play a little bit of a bigger role. Alexander Holtz might get to play a little bit of a bigger role. Dawson Mercer, who has not scored yet this season, is going to get a chance to step up, and I'm hoping he takes advantage of it because I never want to critique a player. I'm never going to sit here and pretend I know what these NHL players are and what they can do and critique them. But if there ever was a time for Dawson Mercer to get on the scoreboard, this is going to be it. So overall, it was a good week. Getting 2 wins versus the Wild, that's good. 2 for 1 for the week. You take that. Obviously, the Jack injury is the Jack injury, so hopefully the Devils can recover for that. As we look at the schedule this week, they are playing the Chicago Blackhawks tonight on Sunday. They play the Avalanche, which ends their kind of a Central Division trip that they had. We're playing the Wild twice, the Blues, the Blackhawks, and now the Avalanche. And then they will close out the week on Friday versus the Washington Capitals, and we'll see how that goes again there. If you want to, you can follow me on my socials, which are over here. learning how to point. And yeah, so my name is Lippy. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next one.